Hello everyone, this is AJ from Soundscapes, and a lot of people have asked me how I create my soundscapes, what software I use, different things like that. So today I'm going to go over one piece of software I occasionally use when I'm creating certain types of soundscapes, and that piece of software is called Sound Particles. So what this bit of software does is it takes lots of little audio samples and it places them in a whole sonic field. You can set the parameters of this sonic field, you can pick the audio files that go into it, and you can pick how often they appear. And what this software then does is randomly places them in that field, and it sets audio levels based on distance and things like that. So we're going to be creating a battlefield, and what we can see is what we've got first is we've got microphones placed in the middle. We've got a stereo pair set up, and we're going to go with a Blumline pair. Anybody who knows audio recording knows that, will recognise some of these different types. I'm a big fan of Blumline. So, let's get started. We've got that set up in the middle, and we're now going to place sounds around this. So what we do is we create a particle emitter. And what that particle emitter does is this little green dot is it'll play a sound from there. So as you can see, this is a 2 meter grid, so it's playing that sound from 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 meters away, something like that. We're going to name it distant. You'll see why in a bit. Now it's creating particles at a rate of 10 particles per second, and it's going to do that for 3 seconds. Now we all know my videos are a lot longer than 3 seconds, but we're going to start with 60. So over 60 seconds it will, as you can see these green dots appearing, create these samples and play them. So next thing we need to do is pick the samples that we want it to play. So we select audio files, and I've created a couple of packs out of sound clips I have. There's one, hitting leather, arrows, crossbow bolts, sabers, quarter staffs, throwing knives, and stabs. All the kind of stuff we want. We want these are single mono audio files being played, so the audio files in here are all stereo, so we want them to convert them to mono. And let's load them in. And I only selected 2. Well done. Let's try again. Let's select them all, convert to mono, go. And there we go, they're all here. So we now have all these audio files that it's going to choose from. But we don't want it to just play them all flat out. So we're going to add an audio modifier. What this audio modifier does is it randomizes the gain, which is the volume to the layman, of each sound it plays. So as it's going around, see all these dots appearing, that's it playing, getting to the end of the file, stopping, and it's triggering another one. So it plays these all around. Let's have a listen to this. Lovely, that's already nice and chaotic. So it's playing those at a distance of 10 meters. It's all within 9.5 to 10.5 because of this 1 meter section radius. We're going to put it at, let's say, 30 meters away. The radius of a section radius of 5. So we can now see that it's put it further away, and they're a little more spread out. Let's try that at 15. See how it changes everything. Look at that. That's really nicely spread out. But because it's distant, I'm going to make sure that nothing comes closer than 30 meters. There. Let's try this. Now, that's going to sound kind of the same, because what it's doing is it's cranking up the overall level to bring it up to just below 0. 0 is maximum volume in audio terms. Then you amplify that with your speakers. So, now that we've got that that distant one set, let's set another one. Let's go for a close one. Call this one close, and we don't want that much action close to the listener, because if there's 10 people getting stabbed every second next to you, then you're going to last about half a second. You're going to be one of those 10. So we're going to set it to less than 1, so 0.8 particles a second. I'm going to have it run for another 60 seconds. So now you can see in the middle we've got these red particles appearing, and that's our close ones. So there's close sounds appearing around us, while all that green chaos goes on in the background. What we need to do now is load in more of the same sounds. I've got other sounds which I'll be loading in a bit, but for now we're going to be throwing these in. Okay, let's just let it render and do its thing. Okay, so we got these appearing there. Let's remember to set an audio modifier. Random gains again. Okay, so now you should hear these a lot closer, and the distant ones will sound more distant. You can see the bigger peaks on these are the closer hits. That guy just took a big, so that guy next to us just took a big hit there. Right. So now we have a close and a distant. So now we're going to play around with adding some more types of sounds. Let's add another emitter. And let's check what we had for distant. We had 10 and 60. Let's call this distant pain. And we're going to set it. We're not going to set it at 10. We're going to set it at 7. And let's check what our radius was. 45 and 15. So we'll set those the same. So it's happening in the same area. So now we've got, sorry, that would just annoy me. Right. So now if we look at where our green ones are appearing, we've got pink in the same area. Yeah. Okay. Now let's load in some sounds for the distant pain. Let's go with shouts. Right, lots and lots of these. For some reason this part of the software just takes ages. Yeah. Here we go. Right. Now, let's see how that sounds. We should hear some screaming in the distance. This software requires a lot of computer power. So the on-the-fly rendering is starting to give up on me, so I'm going to render a short section. And 10 seconds should be enough. Right, let's have a listen. Excellent. Now that's starting to sound like a proper battle with people involved. So what else can we add? How about another emitter? Now what we're going to do is call this engines. Now don't worry, I'm not making a modern one. Let's set this for another 60. And alright, so we've got to remember to set the distance on it. Let's set it at 50 with a section radius of let's go with 15 again, shall we? Okay, so now we've got lots of yellows appearing in that distance. Sorry. I've been talking to myself all day, so this is, my voice is starting to go. We're going to load in Ballista. Cool. And some trebuchets. If we're going to war, let's do it properly. I've noticed I've been missing out that skip use only left channel or some mono thing. I'll go back through afterwards and I'll adjust all these. So let's do another quick render. Okay, so we've got our render done. Let's have a listen. That sounds all sorts of fun. Okay, we forgot to add our random game modifier. These engines, they're not cutting through as much as I'd like, so I'm going to crank up the volume a little bit on these and see how that comes out. Okay. Maybe that was a bit much. Let's just raise it by about 2. Okay, let's try another render, get that right. That's sounding lovely and chaotic. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to take our close files, and I do have one more sound library to add to this. Close cloth. We're going to have that at 4 particles a second, running for 60 seconds. Now the audio files I'm using for this, use my hand-to-hand section. Okay. Now these are the orange ones appearing. Let's give it a section radius of 5. So those oranges will be spread out a little more. Let's bring it to 15. There we go. We can see here now we're starting to get a really good spread of how far away all the different sounds are. Let's give that a render. Okay, so we've rendered that. Let's have a listen. Something weird was going on with that. I think with my close cloth, yep, I didn't select enough different files. So that thunk, 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 thunk you could hear, is it looping that sound? I say looping, it was creating all these different instances, but it was all instances of the same sound, which is why we need big libraries to build these things. And once that's in, it should show us a new map. Cool. Remember kids, save your work. Let's call it Full Scale War. Okay. Now, let's give it a render. Okay, now that we've rendered that, let's have a listen. Getting quite chaotic there. Let's add our audio modifiers that we keep forgetting to add. Distant pane has one, close has one, distant has one. So now what we're gonna try and mix these a little bit. I think the close cloth is probably a bit loud. Let's drop these down a little. Let's try that. And render. Okay, rendering done. Let's try it again. Nice. So that essentially is how we will put together a sort of battlefield ambience using all those different sounds that I've got whole collections of, and now they're randomly generated all around the battlefield, and you can use this bit of software for rain or footfall, you know, just people walking through the street around you. You can track these dots, so you can have this dot, instead of just appearing here and playing, you can have it appear and then swing around as the person is walking past you. You can do all sorts of things, cars flying past. You can trace bullets across the air if you really wanted to, or aeroplanes flying overhead. There's a full 3D aspect to this bit of software, so it's not just this circular plane. You can have it all on a vertical one as well, and it can link with VR and create audio files that will work within VR videos. So yeah, this is a pretty powerful piece of software. If you're into doing this kind of thing, it's definitely worth checking out, but it's not something you just want to plunge your money in to have a play about with, although there is a free demo version out there. So if you go to Sound Particle's website, they'll let you have a free demo version, which does everything that the full version does, and the only restrictions, I think, are it puts some sort of hidden watermark in the audio, and it restricts the quality of the audio you can export. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you the first minute that I've managed to render out, and then after this video is done, I'm going to set this duration to 3 hours, and then watch my computer burn as it tries to render 3 hours worth of this. And then I'm going to take it into Pro Tools and I'll add a few other little things and I'll play about with it a little. So here we go. Lovely. So I'll be playing about with that a bit more, and I'll add a few more things to it. But that's basically how this bit of software works to bring things together. Thank you for listening to me ramble, and this video will be up shortly.